Hello, it is Lynx here, and today I will be reading He Can by Lynx the Cat on AO3. I wrote this one myself. It's rated general audiences, no archive warnings apply, and it's a genfic. The fandom is, of course, My Hero Academia, because what am I? Some of the tags. Shinzo replaces Mineta. Midoriya has One for All. Midoriya needs a hug. Traumatized Midoriya. Midoriya has a quirk. Izuku has multiple quirks. It is around 1,200 words. And for some reason, y'all like this. And I have 21 kudos, which is why I'm doing this. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Summary. Izuku is deaf, but he doesn't know. What if Feral, Pro Hero Racerhead, finds him and thinks he can be a hero? Notes. So, the little reference in the summary I added was just a really funny fic. I somehow forgot what the name was, but I know who it's by. It's by Clouds, Head in the Clouds Not Coming Down. It was really awesome, and you should go read it and leave a kudos. If you couldn't tell, I absolutely suck at writing, and if you like this fic, you're wrong. Alright, let's actually get into this. Deku, get over here, Katsuki demanded. Izuku, or as Katsuki called him, Deku, used to be friends with the explosive blonde. It had always been Kacchan and Deku during childhood, but by now they were in their final year of junior high at Aldera Junior High. Class had just ended, and it was revealed that Katsuki was in fact not the only one going to the prestigious UA high school. Kacchan! The frightened Greenette yelped in fear. Both knew that they used to be close. Their mothers had been childhood friends and were ecstatic when they found out that they were expecting children just under 2 months apart. Both families lived right next to each other until the boys' 4th birthdays had passed. One had gotten a quirk, and the other was quirkless. I thought I told you not to apply to UA. I'm supposed to be the only one from this terrible school to get into there. I'm clearly the superior, you quirkless nerd, Katsuki yelled, making the other one cower in fear. I'm not quirkless anymore, Izuku stuttered out, so quietly that Katsuki could barely hear him. Truth was, in a society where 80% of the world had quirks or superpowers, there was still 20% of the world without a quirk. However, 18% out of the 20% were children or teenagers, so Izuku not having a quirk was rare, or close to impossible. However, he had the pinky toe joint that is usually associated with the quirkless. His mother's quirk, which allowed her to attract small objects to herself, gave her hands a mutation. But even with that information, nobody had put together that Izuku could have a quirk, with his mutation being an extra pinky toe joint. Unknown to both the Midoriya family and the doctors, Izuku was never quirkless. He had an intelligence quirk that instead of attracting objects, he attracted knowledge. Yes, you are. You always have been, and you always will be quirkless. Katsuki, being the enraged, hot-headed boy he was, used his quirk. Explosion on the younger of the two. This explosion caused Izuku to lose hearing in his left ear because of how close the explosion was to his ear. Izuku never realized this because with his intelligence-based quirk, he unknowingly compensated for the bad hearing in his left ear with his right ear. His mentor, All Might, or as he insisted Izuku call him, Yagi-san, talked so incredibly loud that neither one noticed. Even though neither Izuku or Yagi noticed, Inko did, so she purposely talked just a bit louder, but Izuku never noticed. By the time April had arrived, Izuku had been partially deaf for a full year. Today was his first day of UA high school, his first day in Class 1A. He got into the hero course. When he walked into his classroom, he saw his old friend Kacchan with his feet up on a desk with the blue-haired boy from the entrance exam berating him. Izuku then looked at the board up at the front of the classroom. He saw that he was seat 18 and Katsuki was seat 17. That couldn't be right. If two students from the same junior high got into the same school, surely they wouldn't seat them next to each other, right? Even so, Izuku snaked around the back of the classroom to the best of his ability to try and avoid his friend. But deep down, he knew. Katsuki knew. If Katsuki was in his seat, he would have noticed who was behind him. Just as Izuku sat down, the others started to turn around to look at him, but in walked their teacher. I am Shota Aizawa, and I am your homeroom teacher. Welcome to school, Class 1A, the man said, revealing that his name was in fact Shota Aizawa and was the homeroom teacher to Class 1A. But with the class being as loud as they were, most didn't notice him. When Aizawa saw that only 6 out of the 20 students in class noticed him, he was disappointed. Midoriya, Bakugo, Shoji, Jiro, Shinzo, and Tokoyami. He knew that Shoji and Jiro noticed him because of quirks that allowed them to have better hearing. Tokoyami because of his sentient quirk, Dark Shadow, but that leaves the other three. Bakugo was partially deaf because of his own explosions, so he really didn't know how Bakugo saw him. But Aizawa could guess it. Shinzo recognized him because of his villainous quirk and was likely to be bullied for it. That left Midoriya. Bakugo, Shoji, Midoriya, Jiro, Tokoyami, and Shinzo. See me after class. Class A had a quirk apprehension test. Aizawa said he would expel the person in last place. He didn't. Aizawa didn't want to admit it, but he actually liked this class. You 6. I bet you're wondering why I asked you to stay after. I simply noticed you guys were the first ones to notice me. So in seating order, tell me why and or how you noticed me. Shoji. Aizawa drawled. I had one of my arms as an ear pointed toward the door. He answered. Jiro. My earphone jacks picked up on the door opening. Tokoyami. Dark Shadow alerted me. Revelry in the dark. Bakugo. The shitty nerds saw you. Midoriya. I was able to hear you? How? I don't know. I just did. Okay then, Shinzo, your turn. I learned to pick up quieter sounds. Well, the 6 of you get extra credit. You can all leave except Midoriya. I would like to talk to him privately. There was a chorus of okay senseis until it was just Aizawa and Midoriya left. Problem child, do you know why I wanted you to stay even longer than the others? No, why? Midoriya stated. I'm worried about you. I think that unknowingly you've been compensating for your hearing. The teacher firmly stated. My hearing? But I can hear perfectly fine. Can I see your left ear, please? The meek boy started out a quiet, okay, before the taller black-haired man walked over to examine his ear. When Aizawa looked over at the child's ear, he shined a light in to take a look at the eardrum. What he saw shook him to his very core. Midoriya, the man cautiously said, your eardrum is ruptured, and it looks like it has been for about a year now. What? The only time that could have happened was when the boy abruptly stopped his sentence, not wanting to get his old friend in trouble. Would you like to finish that sentence, problem child? The teacher almost growled out in anger that a person could have done this. No, the kid said, sounding more like another question than an answer. From your response, I would like to ask you a question. Have you ever been told that you would make it as a hero? He inquired. No one ever thought that I could be. Well, Midoriya, no. Izuku, you can be a hero. And so he was. Izuku became a hero. Despite all the bullying during his childhood, he turned his childhood nickname that people used to bully him positive. He became the one-for-all hero Deku, because as someone once told him, you can be a hero. Notes, I, in fact, have many regrets and I'm surprised that I'm not going to orphan it. If I do, just look out for a podfic of this on my YouTube channel. Make fun of me there. Oh, yeah, please make fun of me. This sucks. But anyway, that was my fic, He Can, on AO3. I'm so disappointed that I even wrote this. It sucks. But anyways, remember to eat, sleep, drink your water, and take your meds. And when you sleep, go to bed at a reasonable time. You guys can't clown on me because this is only being recorded an hour after I posted today's video. It's Sunday. So, you know what? This will be Monday's video. Woohoo! You're listening to this on Monday. Oh my gosh. There's so many things wrong with me if you couldn't tell. But anyways, remember kids, be do and crime gay.